My name is Alison Styles and my date of birth is 21st of December 1969. I feel happy about how I've gone through life and I've had a brilliant life. I've had a brilliant life, and still am having a brilliant life. Philosophy really is, I'm not really a worrier. Like, what's the point in worrying? Nothing's going to change if you worry. Just change it. Of course I do worry about things, but it's not changing anything, my worrying. It's never going to change anything. So I try to impart that to my children, but I do have one who's a very big worrier. But she'll learn. She'll just have to get over it at some point. When you have cancer that you know is terminal, it does feel like, how are you going to be remembered by your family? And of course they will remember me, these three. They will remember me. But trying to impart, so my mum died early of cancer, the same. I've inherited my cancer from her. Brilliant. And so Jared and Faith don't know their nan, my mum. And you know, I can tell them she was really sporty. She was kind of a great mum, but she was a great mum. You know, she wasn't really mumsy, but she was a great mum. And I'm not really mumsy, but I'm an okay mum. And all of us are always just doing our best. But this feels like a thing that everybody could see and just get a little bit of an inkling of you. My tiny begonias, the baby ones. Yeah, Keith's on veggie. I'm on flower. It's not so good this year, but there's a few coming. He's been out here today working on it. We've got some bits coming. But I'm happy. I quite like it just being a bit, you know, hit and miss. Like a bit messy over here, but it's really nice. I like it. Some grass. Oh no!
Oh, you pulled it out!
Oh no!
That's not in. She's killed it. Why are you doing it? Why are you touching it?
Oh, quick, go and put some water in that.
Okay.
Oh, not too much, a little bit.
Oh, you
my
already
God.
watered it today?
I haven't watered it today.
Okay. It just needs time to root, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does need time to root. But I was born in Luton, Bedfordshire, so just 30 miles north of London. My father is Brian Robert Makey. He is a Lutonian also, born in 1942, and my mum is Helen Frances Makey, deceased. She was born in 1944. So my dad was an electrician, professional electrician, and my mum was a secretary, personal assistant. So she worked for lots of different companies. If she didn't like somewhere, she just moved. She moved till she found somewhere she liked, or she worked for more money, whichever took her fancy. She worked for a lot of different places when I was growing up, and I think I know it's one of the questions that we come to, but I think that gave me some of my philosophy in life about making sure that you're happy doing the thing you want to do. So they were really great parents. They gave us a lot of time. We could see that they were in love. An odd thing though, as I was growing up, we never really heard the words, "I love you," but it's never been a worry to me. Me and my brother, I have a brother, we knew that we were loved, just no doubt about that. We didn't need to have those words. It wasn't a thing when we were growing up for people to have lots of "I love yous," which I know it is much more prominent now, which is good. But we absolutely knew we were loved, and our parents gave us a lot of time, which I think is significant for that. So yeah, a lovely childhood with my brother, Christopher Charles Makey. He's about 18 months younger than me, and we still have a good relationship now. A fun brother, a younger brother, so sometimes annoying, I guess. So my brother is a carpenter, self-employed carpenter. He still lives in Luton, where we were brought up. He's married. He has one son only, and yeah, he's living a good life as far as I can tell. He's been and visited me quite recently with his wife Barbara. Yes, I think he is quite similar to me. I would say he's funny and fun. He's loud often. He drinks too much. He knows that. But yeah, I think we're both quite gregarious people. Yeah, I think. I don't know. What would you say about him?
Is he like quite a happy-go-lucky guy?
Yeah, he is. Yes, he's a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, which I think I am.
Would you describe yourself as well then?
Yeah, I wouldn't describe myself as that. I wouldn't describe myself as happy-go-lucky, but definitely a happy person. That is the thing that I always want in my life, to be a happy person, and that's important to me. Yeah, I wouldn't say I really have a profession, but my last job, which was very important to me, was as a swimming teacher, and I honestly felt like that was a real gift, to be able to teach different ages to swim. From babies, I did baby classes, to grown-ups, adults, 70-year-old men and women, people who'd never swum before, and I loved that a lot. I felt really happy in that job. I was an outdoor instructor, so I taught kayaking and sailing and canoeing, different things, walking on the moors, some navigation, and yeah, orienteering and fun being outside, which is core to my person, being outside. Whether it's just having a small walk or any kind of mini adventure, whether it's somewhere I know really well or not at all. None of those things really matter to me. If I'm outside, I can always find a mini adventure or some kind of wonderment around myself. Like sitting in the garden, watching the birds. I mean, I've just spent hours doing that the last few weeks with some nice weather. So yeah, being an outdoors instructor and then becoming a swimming instructor have really been very important. And as a profession, I would say being a swim teacher is probably the nearest thing I've ever come to having a profession. And also, probably that's going to be emotional for me, bearing in mind where my journey is currently. So I've got stage 4 ovarian cancer. And my spouse, Keith James Styles, is really looking after me a lot. So he's the kindest man. I was first attracted to him because he is kind, but also he is funny. He was funny, and he can dance brilliant. So that was the thing that brought us together a lot when we were first finding each other, going out, coming together in the same groups, friendship groups. And yeah, we both really loved to dance a lot. And when we met, which was very late 80s, early 90s, that era, music was it was rave music, house music, and both of us love that. I love house music still now. I really love like old-fashioned stuff, but I was never so much into the music as much as the dance. And so Keith and we don't have lots of music in our lives, only when we're going to dance. But being with Keith and dancing with Keith now is still a real great joy for me. And like we can jive together and do a bit of a ballroomy thing. I mean, to call it ballroom might be a little bit extravagant, but we really, that closeness brings you together having a dance, and that is a really great thing that we still love to do, not so often. But yeah, Keith is he's a real solid bloke, and he is really looking after me brilliantly at the minute. So we've been together since I was 19, and we've been married for a really long time. 33 years, I had to think, 33. Yeah, so I was pretty young, I would say, when we first got together, and Keith's been in the Navy, so he was in the Navy for over 30 years, and really it worked for us. Him being away, both of us being separate. We were both pretty fiery when we were youngsters, so we made it work for ourselves. We had a real connection straight away. So having that connection, made us want to build and keep that relationship going, even when he was away, when we were young. Yeah, we've always been pretty solid as a couple. We always really try to communicate and let each other know what's going on, because nobody's a mind reader, in my personal opinion, in relationships. There might be mind readers, but actually in general, when you're with a person, you don't know what that other person is thinking. Even when you've been together 30 years, surprises can still happen. So communication is really key for longevity. That's what I think, really. So yeah, he's just a kind bloke. He'd do anything for anybody, and if somebody needed a tool, he's the man with a tool. I really just love dancing. It's a real joyous thing in life to do. If you can find a person to do it with, I love dancing with Keith, but also I love dancing with Faith. She's fun to dance with. We dance crazy together, and yeah, dancing is the thing for me, not the music. So I do love music, and there are some songs that I like more than others, but not necessarily ones that would make me dance. But I do just love listening to music for the sake of dance. The eldest child, Faith April Styles. She was born in 1998, 3rd of January. What a joyful baby she was. Pretty independent as a baby. But also quiet. She was a quiet baby, and she was easy. I could leave her, go and do something, come back. She'd still be there watching the world go by. She had really beautiful, big eyes watching the world. And she was a dreamboat. And so after her, I had Jared very quickly. He was born in 1999, 19th of April. And he was like the devil child next to her. But they soon swapped over. She became the devil child, and he became the quiet one. He was pretty clingy as a baby and a little one. I couldn't put him down, not like her. She would just occupy herself. He wanted to be with me all of the time. But as they grew, yeah, they changed. He became the one that would be more outgoing, and she became less likely to go and just make friends with anybody. A bit more reticent now, Faith, to put herself out there, and Jared is more likely to. And their jobs would show that. Like, Jared is a manager in a bar and pretty outgoing with that, and Faith is a dog groomer and works quite solely by herself. But I think she's found other ways now as a grown-up to satisfy her social side, because actually she is a social person, and she's found people that she can connect with, which has been important to me as a mum, to see that, for her to find friendship and her people, and that makes a person happy, seeing that. And Jared does that. He's pretty good at making friends, but very different children, and fun kids to be with when they were younger and we did stuff, because as a mum who was outdoorsy, it was important for me to take the kids outside and just to do anything, like just go for a walk in a park or go and be on some swings, or maybe go to the moors, walk up a river, put our wetsuits on and do something maybe a bit more exciting, go out in kayaks. You know, I had that opportunity to be able to take them out. So although they weren't sporty, which I am, they were willing to have a go, which also as a parent is a nice thing. Yeah, so camping is a thing that we all hold dearly. I would say that's a big part of like my childhood and growing up. There would be memories that I would bring to you, going on holiday as a family and extended family. Like when I was small and maybe up to 15, we would go with nans and granddad, aunts and uncles, you know, cousins were there, and we would go to the same place every year. So we would meet other families who were also going there the same place every year at the same time, but who are people that I still am in contact with now, you know, as a grown-up. Bye, Jared, love you. So, so we would go to Swanage, which is in Dorset. It's a really lovely part of the world and a favourite part for me to go, and you know, my kids know that place now. And yeah, camping holds a lot of dear memories of growing up and being with family, you know, playing cricket on the beach. Everybody involved, you know, like say, well, not my nan necessarily. She would have probably been making sandwiches and cups of tea, because we always had a beach hut as well. So there was a beach hut with that we could have a small primus stove in. There was no electricity, but like there would be food coming from there, from nans and aunts, and the rest of us would be playing games or all swimming together. You were never by yourself. There would be cousins. And yeah, it was a real fun thing, and something that we all looked forward to, because we had that holiday every year. You know, in the 70s, that was quite lucky. People didn't go on holiday every year. It was more rare. And even though ours was camping in a tent, it was still a really brilliant, fun thing. And everybody in our family looked forward to that and going away together. It was also, coming from Luton, lots of the male side of the family worked for Vauxhalls. So that's the car manufacturers. And they had the same holiday every year. So there would be a Vauxhall shutdown. So everybody would go on holiday at that point in Luton. It was always the same thing. But that was, yeah, camping is very much an historical family. Like not only my era, but my nan and granddad were doing it with my mum and my mum before we were there. And then also we have a very special place as a family, Portland Bill, which comes from Keith's family. So Portland is in Dorset also, and we're lucky enough that Keith's parents have a hut. So it's basically a glorified shed, but it's somewhere that's a brilliant holiday destination, and you're in a field. You have to go and get the water from the top of the field in a pot, tip it out to use it. Everybody has to take their turn doing that. And Portland Bill is a very, very special place to us, like for holidaying, and also as a family place. Like all of Keith's family, the majority of Keith's family now live there or near there in Weymouth. And that's another place where we meet regularly as family and have big parties and also holidays every year. We meet up with Keith's sister and brother and their respective families and have fun. So school for me as a little one was okay, was good, I guess. I went to a school quite near an infant school. I went to an infant school and a junior school. So I know that there used to be like lower, middle and upper, things like that. But I went to an infants and junior school, and I had a great time that I can remember. And I do remember a lot of people from that time, and tank top wearing, things like that. photographs with bowl haircuts was quite popular in those days, and it was fun. I can remember really it was fun going to school. And then as I got older, I found school okay. I didn't really love the system. I'm okay at school, but I do get really bored really quick. And I guess probably, I wouldn't like to say I'm on any kind of a spectrum particularly, but definitely going to a school was not the best way of learning for me. But I did it. I found it okay. And in fact, I found it quite easy. I just went through school without trying, and hence left with barely any reasonable qualifications. But I've never been out of work. I've always found it relatively easy to have a go. I'm good at having a go at anything, and I'm willing to have a go at anything. Something that I've always tried to live by is all things will end. So if something horrible is happening, if you keep breathing in and out, eventually that thing will end. And that started off going into exams because I never prepared. I've been like that all of my life, quite unprepared. I can't bear revision. Who wants to do that? If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. Or, you know, if you're that person, brilliant. I'm just not. I just can't spend the time. I can't waste the time revising something to answer some questions that might never be any use to me ever again in my life. And so I found exams at the time stressful because I was completely unprepared for them, and I knew I'd fail. But I would always go into an exam going, as long as you keep breathing, it'll end. Like, it will end, and it will. Like, whatever the result will be, and you know you didn't revise, you'd have to suck it up, you know. And then if you can change something, if you want to revise, that will change it. But yeah, if you're not happy, you're the one who's got to change it. So one of my first jobs was a YTS, a youth training scheme, £27 a week payment. And it was a scheme that was about when it was kind of like an early apprenticeship or a late apprenticeship, because apprenticeships had been going on for years and years and years before my time, and then they kind of were fizzling out. But I did this YTS for a company that edited magazines and things, and I was put in this basement with a lady that did she did like the photography and artwork. And so she had lots of t-shirts and merchandise that different companies commissioned. And then sometimes they decided, oh no, that's not for us. Oh yeah, we will have that. And she was in charge of all of that. And we had a great time. Literally, we were in the basement. And she was a lot older than me. So I was 17, 18. She was late 30s, early 40s. But there was always loads of really fun things round. And I was sort of just like her right-hand man and did the filing. But that was a really fun thing. And I never knew what I wanted to do as a job. But I just from there went on to all different types of office work in different departments all over. But I think I did quite a reasonable interview often. And so, yeah, I had quite a few jobs, similar to my mum. If I didn't like something, I just moved on. I just changed it, made it different for myself, which has become an important part of my life. And a thing that I would say to people: if you are not happy, you are in charge of changing that. No one else. Nobody else is going to change that for you. So just however you can make it happen for you, as long as you're not hurting somebody or letting people down. I think if you could change your own happiness, and that's an important part of your life. That's an important part of my life. Do you know, I looked at the desserts and I couldn't really come up with something. I can't remember it being a massive thing as a child. Maybe school dinners, yuck. No good desserts there, horrible pink custard, I never liked that. Big slabs of horrible cake, never liked that. I guess probably chocolate angel delight. That was quite popular, and my mum was not a massive cook, so an angel delight was easy, and it would be a bit of a treat. And who doesn't love a bit of chocolate? But having said that, now just coming to mind, Rima, my nan was a brilliant baker, and so she would always have really good cakes, different types of cakes, syrup sponges, ginger cake. She did a cracking walnut and coffee cake, and biscuits. So yeah, maybe I'd have to pick something my nan would make. That would perhaps be it. Desserts are not my thing as such. You can always buy one better than you can make. That's what I think with desserts. My favourite thing to cook would be a beef stroganoff. I have a recipe from my mum that's, it's a slow cook, but it really is just delicious. So I can't give you the recipe, I'm afraid. I'd have to do something mean after so that you'd get it. But yeah, a beef stroganoff is a popular one in the house. That's one I do as a treat dinner. So I try not to do it too often. And sometimes we bastardise it into a mushroom stroganoff, or I can make it just for myself if it's, you know, there's sometimes when Keith was away and the kids weren't here, or I could just make it for myself, or you could just use some steak to make it quick. But the one that I do is a slow cook. The thing that's ingrained in my memory is probably being on Swanage Beach and my mum in a green bikini. So my mum had, I'm going to say 2 bikinis that were part of my childhood, you know, from being 4 to 15. Those same 2 bikinis came out for 2 weeks. And my mum was a very petite lady and really very sporty, so she had a good body. And those bikinis just became they were just a thing that me and my brother would laugh at now. Oh yeah, mum in her bikinis. But you know, why would you ever buy more than that? I'm a person that loves a bikini. I've got hundreds, but she just seemed to have the 2. Like one was green and one was green and white. And so that's a real core memory for both of us, me and my brother. And yeah, being on holiday and camping would be a thing. And especially because we did it when my brother was with his son, young, and then Keith and I with our 2. It's just a thing that's followed us in our lives. And Keith and I have upgraded to a motorhome, which is a joy of my life now, but camping and tenting have always been a thing, and now Faith is carrying on. Her and Mike love going camping, and that brings me joy that they like doing that thing and that they want to carry it on, because it's, you know, it's not always the most comfortable. The weather in this country doesn't always make it the best, but it is fun. It's fun, and it is something different, and it does bring something, I believe, to your life. And being outdoors and enjoying that side of life is, I like that, and I like that the kids like doing that similar thing as well. So it feels like, you know, we've given them something that's joyful. Yeah, really special people to me are my nan and granddad on my mum's side. They looked after us quite a bit, 'cause my mum worked as we got older. She worked full time, as did my dad. And so my grandparents looked after us a lot, Grace and Eric Bates. And they also were really fun grandparents. My granddad was a brilliant guy. I learned lots of stuff about nature from him. He's probably the person that made me outdoorsy. He took us swimming when we were growing up. We learned to swim being with him. My mum was a very good swimmer also, but it comes from my nan and granddad, I think. Yeah, they were really special people and meant a lot. They gave a lot to my brother and I in our childhood and growing up. Yeah. So my granddad was really special. He would take us out into his garden and let us dig, play. He would teach us what was out there, different plants, animals, butterflies, birds, all those things. He knew a lot, and he imparted a lot to us. And he would also have fun. Like, we would walk through a a trail, let's say, behind their house. They had some big chalk cuttings, quarrying as well. It's actually been built on since we were there. But we would walk along and he would make up stories, you know, jump over the crocodile pit, fly past something else, or different things like that. And so that was a real fun part of childhood, being with my granddad. And then my nan with her cakes, and she would make us brilliant lunches, and she had an old-fashioned policeman's whistle, so it didn't matter how far away we were, she would blow the whistle, the policeman's whistle, and we would all know to come for food. And she used that whistle on my granddad for all of his life that I can remember. You know, my granddad was a real old-fashioned gent. You know, he gardened in a shirt and trousers and a tweed jacket. You know, he'd hang that tweed jacket on his fork, you know, and it was a brilliant time growing up in the 70s with a nan and granddad who were willing to give you time and love and energy. And I've really appreciated that as I've become an adult and had my own children, and very recently become a grandparent. That's I think that's the most significant thing you can give somebody, time, and it is important. They were quite liberal. My mum was a liberal parent, so and my dad was a Victorian parent, so two very different types of parenting, but they really let us live our lives. And we did have boundaries. I'm not saying we didn't have boundaries, we did. But we were pretty good kids. Neither of us were really ever in trouble with the law. We never did things that we shouldn't, particularly, or not openly. I think the worst thing I ever did was, like, sometimes I didn't always come home at the end of a night, and I know that probably my mum really worried about that. But yeah, we never were in trouble, so I think they thought we were doing okay, and we were doing okay. We both had great childhood, great teenage years, young adult years. We were both pretty responsible, and I think my mum and dad had done a good job already, so they didn't need to give us hints and tips. I think, like, we just watched what they were doing, and actually it looked pretty good what they were doing, so we just kind of copied. And I'm hoping that's what my kids feel like. Like, I don't try to give them hints and tips, although I'm very opinionated. I do, obviously. If they ask me a question, I will always try and answer it honestly, and Keith will probably say that I'm honest to a fault. I couldn't, like, there's no lying. I couldn't lie to make somebody feel better. I'd probably tell the truth and make them feel worse. That is definitely not a great part of me. In fact, everyone will tell you that. Yeah, no, Alison's going to tell you the truth, and even if it hurts, she's going to tell you it. Don't ask the question. Like, yeah. On my mum's side, most specifically, my aunt and uncle, so my Uncle Roger and my Auntie Val, their children, Nicola and Michelle, they were a big part of our childhood. They were family that we spent Boxing Day with. So my Auntie Val, that would be a thing. We'd have Christmas mostly with my grandparents, and then we'd go and visit Auntie Val and Uncle Roger, and we would always be there for Boxing Day, and that was a time for eating and parlour games, which again was brilliant. Like, everybody was there, two families, grandparents, and as we got older, you know, there'd be boyfriends and girlfriends, and it was a very, very special family time. But we had it regularly, so it was special, but it wasn't rare. And I don't know how much families do that these days. We try to, but we live quite a long way from lots of our family. But if there is any kind of a family do, we get there and we make sure that we're part of it. So it's more tricky, that being with family as families spread out. But when I was growing up, it was part of what we did as a family. My dad's side were a little more distant. They lived further away. And I guess probably my dad just wasn't so good at making that connection, and we did not have such a good relationship with my nan and granddad on that side. There was definitely some family issue. We never really got to the bottom of what it was. We think possibly my grandparents were not so keen on my mum. We don't know why, because they already knew my nan and granddad from my mum's side, so we don't really know what it was about. But we did not visit them very often, and they were quite Victorian in their outlook on life. So if we went round there, we had to sit, and you would speak if you were spoken to, which was completely different to the other house, my other grandparents. It was fun and games all the time, and love. I think really my parents shoved me out into the world. It's your life, you've got to live it. And I think that probably I do that with Faith and Jared. When your parents tell you things, you do kind of think, oh, you haven't got a clue. You don't know my life. And we don't know their lives. My parents didn't know my life. And, you know, you're always in a different era. And so things are different. You've already had to live through different things. Like social media, for instance, as like quite a traumatic thing for children. And even though it's the young people who've grown up with it, they seem to be the ones that are least able to cope with it. You know, I've done some speeding in my time, but no, I haven't ever broken the law. It's not my thing at all. Everything I ever needed to get as a young person, I could do without breaking the law. Oh, Rima, yes, no, I have done that. So, right, okay, confession, well done. You've completely nudged a memory. So when I was at school, oh, I can't believe this. Oh, don't tell Faith. So when I was at school, it did become a thing. Like there was a sweet shop, and as you went in, they had like a big tub that was always filled with different chocolate bars. And I was brilliant at nicking chocolate bars out of there. I can't believe it. Like I would do it every day. Like I could go in and sort of like stand with my hands behind my back. They'd be in the tub, and then I'd put my hands into my pockets with chocolate bars inside. I mean, I must have cost that shop hundreds of pounds. I did it really a lot. I completely forgot about that. I have broken the law. I have. I'm going to be blushing all night. I can't believe I've had to confess that. I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I did. I think, well, I was at school. I was in a school uniform, so I would have been, I don't know, what, 13, 14. I think I was at a younger end. Like, because it was a big brag. You'd like, oh yeah. Anybody want a Cadbury's egg, like a cream egg? I've got like pocketfuls of, oh, how naughty. Oh my goodness. Oh, do you know, like it's been such a brilliant time. And then I'll get emotional, I think. Which I wish I could have not. Because there are lots of people, like I'd like for my kids to, I'd like for Faith to talk to some really good friends. And I know they will. I think, oh my goodness, me and Jackie White have had some adventures. Faith will know. She'll know. But I think to talk to Jackie would be good. Oh, we did a bike ride from Ilfracombe back to Plymouth on our bikes. It was brilliant. It was so brilliant. And I mean, it rained on us, the sun shone. We stopped in a brilliant pub. We were soaking wet to our pants. Like, we had a gorgeous room. We got upgraded into a double bed. Brilliant. That was great for two women, like friends. She'd booked a room with twin beds, and they thought it'd be brilliant to upgrade us to like a really brilliant room with a double bed in. The last thing we wanted, but there we were, in a double bed, Morecambe and Wise styling. So the adventures I've had with Jackie White have been amazing. And the fun I've had with Joe Westcott. We've danced a lot of nights away and had a real laugh at the sea and been good friends. And yeah, she's another good person to talk to. And then my really good friend Gethin. We lived next door to each other, and sort of like we were young mums together, and first time on the married patch together. And so we lived as neighbours for some years, and now we're just brilliant, brilliant mates. And me and Geth have done some stuff and had some adventures. And so people not in the family, but people that I'm really close to, really good girlfriends, and they mean a lot to me. And there are other people. There are a lot of other people, but when you're really poorly, I have to say, I've really realised how important friends are. And Kathy and Sue and all the swimming girls, and you know, there's brilliant people in life, and people that have bigger struggles than you have. But you know, ultimately, life's biggest adventure is your family, I think. And my three are brilliant. And also, now we have a grandson, Jackson. He's like the biggest joy in life. Just an amazing, amazing little person that I do really love a lot. And yeah, they're all good people, and they're all fun and a part of my life adventure that's been and is still being brilliant. There's so many people that you could mention, and I always feel like when I'm thinking about my life, like everybody that's touched it has had some fingers in that pie, like whether it's been big or little. And I know along the way, you know, like there's been some brilliant friends who have got lost, and that, I think that is part of what happens, because you move away or you move on, and people drop in and drop out. But everybody that's touched my life has been a part of it. You know, whether they're just some school friends who were there for the 5 years that you're at school and then they've gone. But there are lots of important people. There's lots of fun. But I don't have lots of philosophy on life. I think I'm trying to get through it. I've always tried to get through it, having fun and being happy myself, and making that be true for people around me. So I guess I'm probably a bit of a joker. Might not come through here, but I am a bit of a joker. Like when I'm with my friends, all of my friends are people that laugh. All of my friends are people that laugh out loud and want to be fun and want to have fun. And as I've got older, I've really noticed that. The people that I surround myself with are fun people, and people that want to be funny, or they want to have fun. And that is a really important part of life for me. Like, there's lots to be sad about, and there's lots to not have fun about. But if you can have some, you just make your life and your world a whole lot better. So have fun. That's what I think.
That's a cup. Perfect. Rima, thank you. Yeah, I've really loved it a lot.